lost mine in the sand. Where will you stand?
Well, the studious Hanok showed up today. At least I said, you look totally important there, sitting in front of Joe's books. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. It's only a fraction of the books.
Oh
But
yeah,
either,
yeah, I
yeah,
know. I'm getting rid of books, and there's never been a book. I don't think he's ever gotten rid of one, has he?
I wouldn't be aware of it. Not
Yeah,
not at all.
yeah. And the thing
Anyway,
is, he's actually read them.
yeah, yeah, very
So,
true.
how you doing?
Uh, trying to keep up with the news. Of course, we had a tragedy yesterday in Gaza.
Yeah.
Uh, we lost a number of soldiers. May Hashem and the IDF avenge their blood. Interestingly enough, they're primarily from the Netzach Yehuda group, which is used to be called the Nachal Haredi.
Hmm.
In other words, this unit is quite a number of years old. It's not a recent unit, but these were all Haredi. These were all ultra Orthodox guys.
Well,
Um, and of course, trying to figure out if I could be a fly on the wall in those meetings with Trump,
oh yeah.
because everything is being decided right now. Um, and what's the old expression? The fix is in, or something like that. It's kind of like, like there's a script that's been put together recently, and I don't think I like the way it's being written. Um, and we keep hearing, people say they want to know, like, so what is Israel's plan? And we're making it up as we go along. There,
Yeah.
there is no real plan for Gaza the day after. The idea that somehow all of the Hamas leadership is going to be exiled,
Hmm.
Gaza is going to be demilitarized, some Gazans will be encouraged to leave, and it's kind of going to be, what was the Superman thing? Truth, justice, and the American way. It's not going to work like that, for sure not.
No.
Um, I really, I'm anxious, is the way to put it.
Yeah, it appears. I mean, of course, Netanyahu has nominated Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. Okay,
He
whatever.
he he knows where his bread is buttered.
He knows exactly where the bread's coming from, in fact. But I found it kind of interesting that there's not anything being said for the most part. Of course, in the United States, and you're in the nation of Texas right now, we're pretty much people are preoccupied by the disaster that happened
Sure.
in Kerrville. I've been
Tragedy.
in that area, I've spoken there. Georgetown area, you have too, and horrendous. Over 100 dead at the moment,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of preoccupation there, and rightly so. But at the same time, to have the prime minister come in a meeting with Trump and the news, for the most part, at least what I've seen this morning, is kind of crickets.
In the Israeli press, there's a lot of analysis going on, but it's more of the would have, should haves, and could haves. We don't really get a sense of what's going on. There's a lot of hints and potential disinformation going on at the same time. The perfect example is Syria. My government is meeting with the government of Syria. That's a fact. What it is that Syria wants out of the deal, whether it's a piece of the Golan, whether it's not a piece of the Golan, one day it seems it's going another way. We don't know. This is kind of a time when it's so easy to get distracted, and this is why I keep reminding people that this is still the time. This is still the time to write emails to your elected representatives, still the time to organize your congregation and your friends, to educate yourself, still the time, especially the time, to plan to join us on the Connect to Israel tour. I mean, there are things to do, and for people to sit back and be almost paralyzed. And I've come across it already, and I've only been in America a week.
Hmm.
Is it even a week? I don't
Uh,
even remember.
yeah,
Um,
almost. Yeah, something like that. I know it's that's the thing, Hanok. Right now, trying to just keep track of time, I find is a difficult task. If it was not for Shabbat, of course, I don't have to get up in the morning and go to a 9 to 5 job. Mine is pretty much, 24/7. But, even with that, I have a difficult time just, okay, which day is it? And if it wasn't for Shabbat, I don't know that I would even know what day it is. And then
yeah,
keeping up with what events happened and which day that it happened, it's kind of a difficult thing. Let's go back to Syria with the Golan. Now,
right.
the Golan Heights has been, that's an area that's very dear to me. I spent a lot of time up on the Golan Heights. I've
Sure.
had some incredible experiences up there. I love that whole area of Israel. And what is not known, unless a person goes to the Golan Heights and is given some instruction on this, it's not like Syria needs the land. We go up to Bel Bintal, you got Quneitra right there, and then it's just unoccupied land. There's dirt as far
Yeah.
as the eye can see. So it's not a matter of land, but for Israel, it is a matter of security. It's a matter of agriculture. It is a matter of water, numerous things. So the Golan
Right.
Heights is a part of Israel that cannot be given away. Prior to 1967, you know what happens if you do
Right.
not take root. I didn't say occupy. I said take root in the Golan Heights. And so
Well,
for Syria to be
yeah.
saying, "Well, we want to have a little bit of the Golan Heights," the I think as a if a dignitary, a negotiator, whoever was actually thinking, they would look at them and go, "Why?"
It's even more complicated than that, in that the Golan was incorporated into the state of Israel
Hmm.
in the same way that the old city of Jerusalem was, and the same way that Judea and Samaria, Yehuda v'Shamron, were not. It's a really important issue. So it's the Golan to the state of Israel is like the Galil, the Galilee, like the Negev, like Gush Dan, the coastal plain. But we really don't know what is going on. Turkey has strong influence on Syria. Turkey is our up and coming Iran down the road.
Hmm.
It's very concerning. Um, and the geopolitics going on. And the reality is, because Trump is busy making it up as he goes along, we don't really, there's no one has articulated a vision. When I say no one, I mean Trump, because Netanyahu, his only vision is, what can I do today to keep my coalition intact so I can stay in power? Which is why he caters to Itamar Ben-Gvir one day and then denies it publicly the next day. Um, it's impossible. We know that America wants Israel to be the linchpin in the Middle East. In other words, we're to be America's guard dog, so American troops and planes and ships don't have to patrol the Middle East. That's obvious. Okay? So this is a deal. This is, reciprocity. America does this for Israel, and we're expected to do that. Now, part of that, what we're supposed to do is create economic ties with all of these countries that currently have no relations with Israel. Prime one would be Saudi Arabia. Now, the thing that's fascinating to me is, people say to me, well, does Israel need to do that? Yeah, on a lot of levels, not the least of which is the business element, particularly because we're becoming more and more closed out of Europe.
Hmm.
Countries that had been friendly to us are not. The world is changing. I mean, it's astounding, actually. The whole balance of the world changes right now.
Okay, and to put term or labels onto this, um, now I do not see Europe as Christian, but most people would say, well, Christian Europe is turning against you, and Muslim Arab countries are open to negotiation. That is beyond comprehension
It,
that a
it's it,
concept like that could even be floated.
it's what's interesting is I wouldn't use the term Muslim countries are looking to deal. It's Muslim countries in the Middle East
Yeah,
because they are deathly afraid of Iran. And who's the neighborhood strong guy? Who's going to be able to stand up to Iran? It's Israel. So Saudi Arabia, they don't have the capability of fighting Iran. Only we do.
which is really crazy because Saudi Arabia is not a poverty nation.
No.
They have quite a bit. And speaking of finances, there, you sent me the other day, and I do keep up with this. How in the world, after 600 and something days of fighting a war, all that's going on in Israel, the shekel has strengthened against the dollar on the world market. The shekel is as strong as I have seen that in,
Oh,
I
it's quite
don't
a
even
number of
remember.
years. Quite
Huh?
a number of years.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember the last time that was down that low.
The thing that's shocking is our economy is doing well. Now, we're still being, I would say, discriminated against in those organizations that issue, credit ratings. We're still being kind of put down
Hmm.
in that area. And what's interesting is because the foreign airlines weren't flying, um, we still have no tourism in Israel to speak of. So people assume that our economy is crushed. And again, I remind people all the time, tourism only accounts for 6% of our gross domestic product. For me, it's my entire life.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. But as a country, it loses its relevance. Now, with people not coming and visiting Israel, they don't get to experience Israel and they don't then become advocates for Israel. So it's sort of dominoes.
With that, on tours, I was looking at the some information this morning. You'd sent something. I am in contact with our hotels just to make sure that I'm keeping them kind of in the loop of what's going on. But I'll be putting an email out to those that have registered for the tour a little bit later today. We're looking at flights. There's the logistics of a tour is very there's a lot of things that have to go together to put the logistics. And the reason, as I've said before, the reason that our tour is about $1,000 plus less than other tours is because you and I aren't just calling a tour company and saying, hey, book all this and we'll
Yeah,
see you at the airport. We're doing all of this ourselves, and that
yeah,
saves a pile of money, but
absolutely.
it does put the
Absolutely.
logistics on me. And
Yeah.
so I'm working on logistics right now. I'm really thinking, Hanok, that we will be able to book flights the end of July. It appears that is going to be, as long as everything stays like it is, it may even be a little bit earlier than that. But we have everything together. The situation continues at this point to improve. And so, again, this is an opportunity. A window is open for people to go and to
Yeah.
be a part of prophecy being fulfilled. I was just reading. I'm reading in Ezekiel right now, and I read yesterday Ezekiel 36. I mean, what an amazing! I'm going through Ezekiel, and it's like I don't understand a lot of this stuff. Wheels and cherub with a with the face of an ox. I don't understand this. Probably one of those books behind you talks about that. But then I got to Ezekiel 36, and it says, "And I will plant you in this land.
Yeah.
I will bring you back." And I read Ezekiel 37 this morning. To the whole house of Israel, I will plant you in this land on the mountains of Israel. And I'm like, I may not understand wheels and wheels, but I got this one. And so
Well,
people can be involved in seeing
right.
and being a part of this prophecy that the prophets long to see.
And that's the whole thing. It's sort of it now is the time in particular to keep your eye on the prize. And as I've been telling people, and I'll repeat myself again, if you're able to go to Israel sooner than later, do it because life happens. People get ill, people have issues, people have all kinds of things. Um, it's you snooze, you lose, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I cannot find different words to say how important it is to be a part of this and be in the land. Um, what's happening in the politics, in a lot of ways, that bores me to tears. But
Yeah.
what's happening on the ground in the land, um, I get pictures from people that post things. Friends of mine there just send a greeting along the way, and it's
Yeah.
just that's where my, as you know, that's where my heart is. So
It's it's so interesting as I've begun this process of, finally flying over when it didn't appear that, this speaking tour was going to happen. And there are details, for instance, of the 6 locations in Iowa that I'll be speaking in, the details of exactly where and why and how and the logistics and things. Um, what's fascinating to me is I'm coming across more and more people that are interested in the things that we're interested in, Mike. And many of the people that we have dealt with over the years are seemingly less interested. So
yeah,
there's a shift going on. Um, and it's going to be really interesting to see where it all kind of settles out,
yeah,
you know.
it is. I just would like to be part of the crowd that is enduring to the end.
Agreed. I
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah. So. All right, so you head out from the nation of Texas back over to the East Coast, where it is a little
Not
bit on
yet.
the, huh?
Not yet. Leaving for Meridian, Mississippi tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, that's getting closer. And then, so from this point on,
Yeah.
don't breathe real heavily because you can drown with the amount of humidity in the air right now. Even in Franklin right now, it is just balmy.
As I tell people, I said, listen, I'm from the Middle East. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's all going to be fine.
So Meridian, and then on to South
Somerville,
Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah. And then,
Somerville to West Columbia, South Carolina. Then, as you know, Franklin, North Carolina.
mhm,
Hayesville, North Carolina. Gloucester, Virginia.
yeah,
This is kind of like kind of my eastern swing. And then from there out to Colorado, Iowa, back to Colorado on the western side, then Florida. Yeah,
Well,
lots of Southwest miles coming up.
as they say, better you than me.
Agreed.
All right. Well, hey, have a good have a good flight, flights, whatever.
And I'll
And
see you soon, Mike.
that sounds good to me.
Take care.